You know, one of the coolest things about Reflections Church is we get to meet in a public school in our county. And if you really think about that, it's kind of crazy because in our world today, there's so much people trying to wedge Christianity out of everything. And everyone insists there's a separation between church and state. And we've built a great relationship with the school. The school loves letting us use it and everything. But if you really stop and think about it, is when you became a Christian, you know, you didn't really have the mindset, and a lot of you probably didn't know the scripture, that Jesus tells us the world's going to hate us. That if you're a Christian and you stand up for God and you stand up for Jesus and you're willing to go against what the world is telling you need to do, you need to expect to be hated because Jesus was hated. Let me go ahead and read that for you. It's in John 15, 18 through 20. And it says this: "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belonged to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. Remember the words I spoke to you. No servant is greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also." And you see, earlier in this chapter, it's talking about how David was at this church, and there were these hundreds of people coming up to the altar and giving their life to Christ. And he was just convicted because it was never presented to these people that you might want to think about this, because your friends, the people you work with, the people you interact with on a daily basis, they might hate you because of the decision you're about to make to follow Jesus. And that's pretty crazy, because thinking back on my life, would I have really chosen to follow Jesus if I realized the amount of hate and anger and everything towards Christians that we would be persecuted all for Jesus' sake? You know, if Scripture tells us right from the beginning, and if we know that the world is going to hate us because of the decision we've made to follow Jesus, you begin to question how you act around your friends. That the question starts to pop in your mind: if I'm the one person that these people are going to know as a Christian and get to hang out with, then my actions have a huge impact on these people's view of the church and Christianity. So my decisions, the way I do things, the way I carry myself, are all going to impact this guy's perspective. So I want to just challenge you. How can you be a good representation of the church, as opposed to just being an organization where people aren't fond